The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, has restated the essence of constant town hall meetings, which he said was to enhance citizenship participation in governance. Speaking at a town hall meeting on national security on Thursday in Kaduna State, Alhaji Lai Mohammed stated the need to deliberate and reach a consensus on the security situation of the country.
I welcome you all to this town hall meeting on national security. I want to most warmly welcome my colleagues, honorable ministers who in particular have taken time off. They are very busy scheduled to be here. For the record, the Minister of Information and Culture launched a town hall meeting series in Lagos on April 25th, 2016 to provide a platform for the federal government to regularly give account of its stewardship to the people, get a feedback and input from them, and overall to enhance citizens' participation in governance. This town hall meeting today is the 18th edition. Distinguished ladies, gentlemen, this town hall meeting will theme setting benchmarks for enhanced security and national unity in Nigeria. It's yet another in a series of efforts of government in its expansive consultation with stakeholders to address the twin issues of insecurity and its concomitant effect on our national unity and cohesion. Obviously, the general state of insecurity was reflected in incidences of farmers-herders clashes, the Boko Haram insurgency, banditry, ethno-religious clashes and intolerance, cultism, drug addiction, and kidnapping for ransom, and now triggering rising call for secession as well as politicization of ethnic and religious differences. Bluntly put, the insecurity and its manifestations pose a dangerous threat to the unity of the country and its continued existence as one indivisible nation. How do we get here, and what can we do to change the narrative? I believe that finding a way out of the situation in which we have found ourselves requires teamwork, reflecting all diversities and leveraging on all our collective creativity to pursue with diligence the project of rescuing Nigeria. Perhaps the correct starting point towards addressing this myriad of problems is the building of an elite consensus on the security, unity, indissolubility, and peaceful existence of Nigeria. Such elite consensus had worked in the past. Can we make it work now and provide solutions in order to stave off the threat to our unity as a nation? This is why we have decided to bring all critical stakeholders together under a town hall meeting setting to deliberate on the issues and possibly reach a consensus on the way forward.
In his welcome address at the town hall meeting, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, expressed his worries over the reaction of the security agencies against banditry and the Boko Haram, describing it as unacceptable.
I would want to first welcome you all to Kaduna and Kaduna State University for this very important town hall meeting. And I want to thank my elder and my brother, Minister Lai Mohammed, for choosing to host this town hall meeting in Kaduna. So I again welcome all of you, including those that I missed in the protocol list, to Kaduna for this town hall meeting on national security. It is coming during a most challenging moment for our country. It is my hope that the discourse and discussions here today will be of a quality that will promote the engagements and consensus necessary for effective collective action to secure our country and its people. Amidst the sorrows and suffering insecurity has caused to many of our citizens, some of our compatriots will be tempted to dismiss gatherings like this as futile and impotent gestures. No one who is in a position of responsibility can deny the necessity for sustained action, for firm action that is in the form of proactive and sustained offensives against the criminals that menace us. Such security operations will not only cripple the outlaws, but also reassure ordinary citizens, bolster the morale of the security agencies, and provide an alternative focus for the energies that are being dissipated on fractious and divisive endeavors. The situation in which the security agencies mostly react to cases of banditry and abduction is unacceptable. We're in a war with these terrorists who are challenging the sovereignty of the Nigerian state and its monopoly of the instruments of coercion across its territory. Our security forces must collaborate to take the war to the bandits and the terrorists, recover and restore the ungoverned forests these terrorists occupy, and enable our law-abiding citizens to engage in legitimate farming and livestock production without fear. These bandits has lost their right to life under our constitution and must be wiped out in their entirety. There is no other way to approach the current insurgency situation today as far as governmental action is concerned. But action and discourse are not mutually exclusive. The theme of this town hall meeting speaks to that function of informed discourse as an enabler of more effective action, setting benchmarks for enhanced security and national unity. It's an important imperative in ensuring that there is a common understanding of the two concepts and that across this country and its diversity there is a common register for talking about them and assessing them. Everyone that has been concerned about the danger that insecurity has posed to national cohesion will appreciate the importance of securing a collective understanding of the problems and the solutions. In my view, we require at the minimum some national consensus on the key issues that confront us, on the most efficient remedies for our weaknesses.
According to the governor, the power of the present administration has been challenged if the rights and security of lives and property cannot be protected by government.
Our national level security response to these challenges has been uncoordinated and ineffective in wiping out the threats. None of the military services nor other security agencies have been suitably expanded in numbers and equipment for over a decade since the insurgency in the Northeast pushed things to a new low. This country does not have enough soldiers or uniformed policemen and women or numbers of secret police to project state power adequately across its vast swaths, particularly the forests. The limited number of boots on the ground are not well equipped and are significantly lacking in the technology that can make their limited numbers matter a lot less.
Malam El-Rufai said, it seems the courts are on the side of the criminals due to the delayed justice system, hence the need for urgent actions.
Number 3, our justice system operates with ethos and at a pace that do not reflect the fragility of the situation and the urgency to demonstrate that the rule of law is meaningful. Prosecutions take too long, that many citizens assume that the criminals have long been released, encouraging criminal conduct and raising the dangerous appeal to self-help. In fact, in this country, criminals like the courts because they know that they take their time before convicting them. The courts are on the side of the criminals rather than being on the side of law enforcement to a large extent. And this is totally unacceptable.
The governor suggested for more funding for security agencies to enable them acquire technological and state-of-the-art equipment, emphasizing also the need to decentralize the police and the judicial system, and emphatically called for the need for a state police system.
Do so. So I'd like to conclude my welcome remarks by suggesting that this country requires urgent actions in the following areas. Number one, to identify, focus, and deal decisively with all state and non-state actors engaged in conduct that amounts to challenging the supremacy of the Nigerian state and our constitution without ethnic profiling or discriminatory treatment. Secondly, we must provide immediate and enhanced funding to acquire advanced equipment, armament, and ordnance for the armed forces, police, security, and paramilitary agencies. Number three, we must have decentralized policing. We don't have enough police. The bulk of the cost of running the police is borne by the states, and we don't know why we cannot have state police. I will repeat my call that we should have state police now. We should also try to amend the constitution to vest all minerals in the states now, and we must decentralize our judiciary now. It is unitary, it is ineffective, and it is not working. It is working more for the criminals than for innocent people.
The lead presenter at the town hall meeting, Professor Jubril Ibrahim, explained that Nigeria has serious state crisis, which past administrations have failed to solve.
Important to appreciate the work of the Ministry of Information in organizing these town halls to get people outside government to engage on issues of vital national importance. And I do think this topic of national security and national unity are extremely important. I think it's clear to all of us that we do have a serious state crisis. And that state crisis has three elements to it. The first element is that of public corruption. Independence was obtained on the basis of a promise. Improved security, improved welfare for Nigerians. The story of Nigeria, and I argue in this paper, that we have to stop focusing on just the government in place today. Our problems go way back. The feeling of Nigerians since independence is that independence has been an opportunity for the elite in power, and we've had so many of them over the generations, to pocket the fruits of independence. We've also seen many governments come into power on the basis and promise of settling the question of public corruption, and they have failed serially. This problem of public corruption generates the second problem with the Nigerian state, that of citizenship. Nigerians feel they are not genuine citizens of their country because the elite take over all the resources for themselves.
Professor Jubril maintained that no political community can be sustained by force. He stated the need to observe human rights and to keep the community together.
In Niger, we have 30,000 armed combatants engaged in terrorism and banditry. We have 3 million IDPs, people who have been chased out of their communities and out of their homes. And clearly, there's a basic issue about the Leviathan. Governor Erufai spoke about the Leviathan asserting itself. It should, but can it? With 6 million civilians with arms, what's the total population of all the security agencies in this country? The Leviathan, as the famous book said, has been crippled. And the task before us is to work out a new path so that you can build a new Leviathan, this time anchored on the people. The one law will be, in the history of humanity, no state, no political community can be sustained by force. To sustain a political community, you must transform force into law, and you must transform obedience of the masses into a conception of the duty of the masses to their political community.
He said Nigerian security agencies did not pass through the decolonization process, leading to the disrespect for its citizens.
The first point is the nature of our security agencies. The fact that they never went through decolonization. Nigeria's security agencies were established as a bulwark for colonial rule and exploitation of the people. They therefore were thought not to have respect for the people, to treat them with disdain, to oppress them, to deal with them. And I know what I'm talking about. I was a member of the presidential panel that investigated human rights violations by the armed forces. And we went around Nigeria and heard what people were saying. And what people said is summarized in the hope and the fear of the Nigerian state. Everywhere we went, the people have tons of complaints about violation of their rights by security agencies.
Professor Jubril Ibrahim emphasized on the need to check the excesses of the Nigerian ruling class, engage the genuine power-sharing formula, and give Nigerians confidence of a better future.
Of the edification of the rule of law. we have to check excesses. The problem in this country, everything that happens is known by Nigerians. Just a few days ago, a judge is filmed in Banex Plaza, beating up citizens. What happens after that? The judge wasn't taken to jail. The citizen is now in jail. And listen to Nigerians. They are saying this is crazy. We all saw the video. Videos can be, we know, manipulated. Lai Mohammed has spoken a lot about that on various occasions. But there were tons of witnesses to what happened. And the person that is now in jail is not the perpetrator. It's the only story I'll give on the rule of law, because it happens every day in every state. So this question of Nigeria's ruling class interrogating themselves daily, that let's ensure we are not above the law and there is the same law for everybody.
A carefully selected team of panelists comprising of Professor Sakanuru, a renowned veterinary surgeon, Dr. Chudi Uwazuruke, an associate professor in International Studies program at City College, Professor Kokunre Agbontain, a principal investigator, and the chairman, board of directors, First Bank of Nigeria Limited, Ibukun Awoshika, all spoke to the paper presented by the late speaker, trying to provide solutions to the present situation of the country.
When the guest speaker was talking, major part of what he said is all political science or law or something. He did not mention anything about this farmer conflict. That is on page 13 to 14 of his paper. I thought he would have mentioned it because it's one of the key things that's here. Thanks to any government in the country, security threats on the increase, not only because of farmer had conflict in cattle rustling, kidnapping, and what you do, all over the country. It is a concern. As I said, even farmers are free to go to their farm. If they don't go to the farm, we are asking for hunger to come. Where is our national food security coming from if they don't go to the farm? If they are wrestling cattle, where are we going to be tomorrow? So this is of great importance. So I want to thank the organizers very much for asking me to come and participate in this very, very important national meeting. Next one.
The final statement needs to think deep about continuing this series, and sometimes even organize a national retreat, as it were, where everybody from one end to the other speak about the kind of Nigeria they want. And I'll say this because when I was a member of the Federal House of Reps, under the Tambuwal speakership, we had a situation where all members were required to go to their constituencies and ask them the same set of questions at the same time from one end of the country to the other. And all members carried that out. And the turnout was incredible, from village to city, and people said they wanted one Nigeria. People said they wanted a better situation, and so on. And those records are there. So if this sort of town hall meetings can be a feature of modern Nigeria, so people can complain early, and especially, hopefully, the state can take action. So I thank you very much.
Our discarded reward versus punishment measures will be revived. It should be revived. And we need that to build confidence in the civic public, and that by extension, it will help security. Number two, I want us to we should embrace truth in and out of governance. Government must retain its original focus. It's about the people. When we look at our constitution, the security and welfare of the people, it said, should be the primary purpose of government. So, and this should reflect, it should be done in government. To tell you the truth heals. It builds confidence and it allays fears.
I challenge the political class to rethink the approach of gaining power, to understand that it cannot be power at all costs. It cannot be power at the cost of a nation. Because without Nigeria, you do not have that power. We have a responsibility as a people to educate every single Nigerian. Education is key to a democratic system. A situation where you have one state at 95% of the children are in school and another state at 25%, and somebody is occupying office and bearing titles and getting paid. We need to question. And we must be willing to challenge our people. We cannot allow people to independently hold positions that are not tenable.